Charles Kate, I'm back. I've graduated high school, I got a haircut, and I read a book and I'm about to make a review about it. So today I'm going to be talking about Cold Mountain by Charles Frazier. Many of you probably know this is a movie, and a very well-known movie that has got a lot of Oscars, I think. It's a movie with Nicole Kidman and Jude Law, and it's pretty famous. But I read this book at the end of the school year as a book of choice. Like, you could just pick. They had a list, and it was like Book of Merit, and you had to pick one from the list. And then, so this was on the list, and I had the book, and I wanted to read the book, and it was approved, and I was like, I guess this is fate telling me I need to read this book at this time, even though it was pretty dense and long, and I had about a week to read it. But me being me, I did it. So obviously I didn't finish it when I was supposed to, and BS the project. Got 100 though, so that was good. So I gave this book 5 stars, and I'll give you a little bit of an introduction. This is non-spoiler, so you can watch it. It doesn't matter if you read the book or not. So this book takes place in the Civil War, and it follows a guy named Inman and his beloved Ada. And so the book is dual perspectives, and it follows both of them in 2 different journeys. So Inman was a Confederate soldier in the Civil War, and he got injured, and then he was in the hospital, and then he's choosing to desert the army. So he's trying to go home to Ada. And then the other perspective is Ada. Her father dies, and she's learning that she doesn't know anything about how to care for her land or to care for herself. And so she's learning independence and also just how to rely upon nature. Inman's journey is more of him facing obstacles on the journey home, and learning more about himself along the way and dealing with the shadows that he has from the war. So now for my opinions. So normally I'm not really a big fan of dual perspectives, just because there's always one that you like more, and I always want to go back to that one, and I'm just not paying attention to the other one. But this book I found was a pretty good exception to that rule. I really enjoyed both perspectives equally, and I wasn't wanting to be reading the other one while I read one of them, if that makes sense. Like, I was equally happy reading both perspectives, and I enjoyed both their stories equally. There are so many themes brought up in this book that's not even crazy. There's not just one central idea given throughout the whole book. It's very abstract, and it's very nature oriented, the whole book. But like, within nature, all these themes are brought up about humanity and the connection between humans and nature. So there's death and life, and the circular nature of death and life, and the dependence upon earth, and there's just so many things. But I really enjoyed how complex this book was, because it may seem like a simple tale of this guy just coming home, but it's really not. Like, there's so much more to it, and every single thing you can look at, there's so much symbolism, like with the birds and everything, and it's just, there's so much to it. And that's one thing that I really love about this book. In my opinion, I think that this book paints a really good landscape of the Civil War, and kind of what's happening in the minds of everyone behind the scenes, and also just the harsh reality of what's going on. Because, I mean, getting an up-close look at war is pretty terrifying, and it's pretty awful, and that's what this book accomplishes. And you can see a lot of it in the things that Inman accomplishes on his way home, and the reality of how Ada is having to deal with her situation on her own. If you're a person who doesn't like really long descriptions, this book may not be a good choice for you. But then again, I'm typically one of those people who doesn't like really long descriptions, and I love this book. I just found that even if he was describing a tree for a whole paragraph, I didn't mind it, because, I don't know, it was beautiful. I never would have thought that I would say that I thought someone describing a tree or a bird or a river for a paragraph or a page would be enjoyable, but I actually did find it enjoyable in this book, which seems pretty strange to me, but I'm just gonna go with it. When you're reading this book, nothing feels rushed. There's no hurry to get to the end. There's no hurry to reach any certain event. It feels like the author took his time with the book, and I think that he did. I read that he spent 7 years writing this book, and some days he would only write a paragraph, and that's it. So that's why it took him that long to do this, is because he spent so much time on each portion of this book, and I think that that's really something that you feel when you're reading it. I did not feel rushed to finish it at all, which is another reason why it was a bad choice for the school project, but you live and you learn. But after a month, I finally finished it, but I just felt like I should put it down and come back to it so many different times, because every time I picked up the book, I saw something different in it, and I think that's really special when a book can do that for you. So no spoilers, of course, but in my opinion, in the end, everything in this book just felt right. Everything that happened did not feel like it was just a plot point to make the story more interesting. It all felt like something that would actually happen, and it felt very realistic, but also beautiful at the same time. So it's just a very good, in my opinion, a balance of what is real and what is beautiful. So I think that's pretty special. But that's about all I have to say about that book. But if this sounds like something you'd enjoy, definitely read it. Or if you don't feel like spending a month reading it like I did, then maybe just watch the movie. But yeah, I'm about to go watch the movie, actually. That's something I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you learned a little something about the book. And I'll see you soon. Bye!